Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Incast, recorded live here at Walker Design Studios, your official home for Fanboys Incorporated, and it's Batman Day! Batman, 75 years old. Go to your local comic book shop and check out some of their great freebies. You can get one of those awesome masks. Some stores have shirts and a special edition Detective Comics 27, one per person. And if you live in the upstate area close to our headquarters, go to the Comic Depot just inside Saratoga Springs at 514 Broadway. They have all that sweet Batman swag there. So check them out. Tell them DW sent you. This week, Nub is not with us again. I don't know what he's doing. I don't know. Maybe he's this new date thing he's got, this girl or whatever. Who knows what he's doing. We'll get more details. He comes back. But sitting in his seat via Skype is the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Sains. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great. I have my Batman Day promotional items in hand. Everything you mentioned except for the shirt. I got my comic book. I got my Frank Miller Return of the Dark Knight mask. The 75th anniversary plastic bag. Make sure they bag your comics in the cool bag. And I'm happy. It's a small but plentiful day at the comic book store for me.
Was there a good turnout there? I mean, do you think it's a Wednesday, obviously it's new comic book day, but was there a hub of, hey, it's Batman Day, we're going to our local comic book shop? Was it a little busier than usual or no?
I showed up right around the 10:30 mark, which is when my store opens, so it was just the regular crowd of the dedicated folk who want to get there before everybody else.
Before everybody else, yeah.
But I can tell you personally, last week for the death of Archie, the turnout at my store, the comic books were late. They didn't show up until 3 o'clock, so then they weren't sorted till about 4:30, which means like everybody after work showed up, and it was a massive turnout. I had no idea Archie Andrews was so ubiquitous, but it was right there in front of my eyes, and it was really quite inspiring. I hope to see a similar turnout for one Bruce Wayne today, because, I mean, he's earned it, 75 years.
75 years, yeah. Now, getting back to the Archie, I'd love to see the numbers after they're all tallied up of how many sold.
I can tell you that 24 hours before the release date last week, Archie was emailing us, letting us know that it had gone to a second printing on the Tuesday of that week, before release. And Life with Archie number 37 is actually out today. It's a week-to-week follow-up, and I would recommend the Alex Ross cover, where the characters are creepily realistic, and it's really unsettling to look at.
Are we going to see a live Archie on the big screen?
I've been waiting for that for quite some time, and I will say that I've been thinking of this theory that Archie could be the one comic book movie that you could do on a shoestring budget, because you don't need effects, you don't need any of that stuff. You just need a small American town and a good script.
Oh, I agree. I mean, we did Scooby-Doo, right? Come on, let's get Archie.
Oh no, don't do it like Scooby-Doo.
Yeah, no. But what I'm saying is, if they did Scooby-Doo, Archie's older than Scooby-Doo. Let's see an Archie movie.
And furthermore, the comics that they're putting out now could allow for an expanded Archie universe on film. I mean, if you wanted to start with the early Archie comics, then move into Life with Archie, and then kill him, and then do Afterlife with Archie, or just do a total Afterlife with Archie spinoff, you have so many different options now.
I'd love to see the afterlife of Archie. You know, zombies are a rage. I think that might be the biggest ticket winner right there for them. You know, do a flashback of the original Archie and the gang and everything, and then just go right into the zombie part. I think that would be kind of neat.
Yeah, and Afterlife with Archie number 6 came out today. I'm not going to give too much away, but Archie Comics made an announcement, I think, a month ago, that Sabrina the Teenage Witch is getting her own solo series with the Afterlife with Archie treatment, like the serious, grim, scary tone. And issue number 6 of Afterlife with Archie is basically the pitch issue of that. It has nothing to do with Archie and everything to do with Sabrina and the idea of her having a comic book. And I will tell you what, I am so excited for this book. I never thought I would say that about I mean, Sabrina the Teenage Witch, Cat. like the show started to go from Clarissa Explains It All. Do you know what I mean? Like, and now it's like
Right.
I'm super excited for this comic book, and it's really heavy. It has a lot to do with H.P. Lovecraft, and Cthulhu's in there. I mean, like, it's super cool, and the artwork. If you're an artwork guy, it's some of the best in the entire business.
Nice.
Period.
I'll have to definitely check that out.
Francesco Francavalla is killing it.
Nice. I'll definitely have to check that out. Just interesting. I think with the turn of events with comic book movies, I mean, all over the place. They don't have to be all capes and cowls as we've seen.
Exactly.
I think it'd be great. I think it would be great. Maybe if you don't do the Archie Afterlife, you do the regular Archie, you get a whole new demographic possibly. People that don't watch comic book movies or don't care for superhero movies per se, and a younger market maybe, or even an older market. I mean, crap, you get the older guys who've been in their late 60s who grew up on Archie.
Exactly. I was just about to say that. You can get the really young kids, and if you ask anybody older than 50 years old, what did you read as far as comic books? Did you ever read comics? And usually the answer is, well, I never read much except for maybe Archie. Everyone knows Archie, so it's extremely relatable to just about every generation except for the really, really young or the teenagers. So, like, when I was a teenager, I was like, oh, Archie, that's lame. But, I think everybody goes through that, and I think at some point that publication just said, I think everyone feels that way, and we need to change things up.
No, I agree. I totally agree.
Now with Dark Circle, they made the announcement that Dark Circle Comics is going to be a completely separate entity under the Archie publication, but for adult content. You're getting The Shield, an old, I think, Still Age comic book brought back to life. What else? A couple TV shows are coming along. Really interesting properties.
And they see the change. They see that they have to grow if they want their company to grow.
Absolutely. It's like their image 2.0, but with this really weird retro feeling. Like it's like if Chrysler just turned everything around, it became this new cool thing. And you're like, really, Chrysler? Huh? I would have never imagined.
Right, or Ford turns around and gives us back the Model T, but in a cooler mode.
It makes it awesome.
Yeah, exactly. So that's pretty interesting. Cool. I'd do it. I'm all for it. Fanboys Inc. approved. Let's see Archie on the big screen. Get old Jughead out there. You and I talked off-pod as we switched topics real quick, and Philip Broyles had hit me up on this, and I feel kind of bad that I didn't know about. And you and I were talking about this. It's been going on for years, but really on the internet and getting very strong in campaigning is this hashtag Troll Hunter for Save Our Podcast Legal Defense Fund, led by Adam Carolla. Now, I watched the videos. If you guys aren't aware of this, it's a group, patent. What do we want to call them? What are they called again? Patent
trolls.
Patent trolls. Yeah, sorry about that. And they're going over after podcasting. It's audio patent. It's not a company. It's just a group of people that are going after certain companies, certain products, and obviously this one is podcasts. Now, they had started this a few years ago, but it seems to be Adam Carolla is leading the charge, and they have fundanything.com/patent troll. What the fuck, dude? Seriously, I mean, I really want to talk about this because we're small. Obviously, we're not the Nerdist and the Adam Carollas of the world, but this could affect, podcasts in the future, how things are going to be done, what's going to be happening. Give me your thoughts on this, Sains.
Okay, so I have been keeping my eye on this one. There's two with podcasting. One is this patent troll. And the other is the use of music. Nobody's really sure how that's going to work and are the record labels going to come after us. Let me back up. Let's talk about the patent trolls really in depth. This is how this all breaks down. Back in, I think, 2010, there was a person who made a claim that they were the people who came up with the idea of podcasting because they had a website that hosted radio show audio files. So if you want to this old radio show, some old radio station, you could come to this website, download their old radio shows, and listen anytime you want. So they, based on that scenario, are saying, since we did that, we basically invented the idea of podcasting, right? Incorrect. For people who don't really understand how podcasting works, it's all based on RSS technology, RSS feeds. To basically break it down, it's you have to subscribe to a list, and once you're on that list, every time it updates its content, you get the updated content. The person who invented it is actually a journalist, and he was an online activist who was in the middle of a really dicey litigation, who later on went to he's now gone. I don't really know how delicately he killed himself in prison, because they were going to give him like 500 years in prison over some really strange online activism thing. Anyways.
Wouldn't that be just life?
Yeah, I know. You do something really great for the world and you go to prison for your trouble. But anyway, so a person other than this man, who is now dead, is claiming that they invented that technology and that they should therefore get the rights to any and all financial gains from, you're talking about like ESPN has their own podcast. Adam Carolla has $1 million podcast. There's Nerdist Industries, who has a film deal with Legendary Films. The scope of this lawsuit huge that it's almost like net neutrality, where it's so big people don't really keep their power away if the person were to win this case. Like you mentioned, and then take a small podcast, smaller even than our fanboys or cablers or internet crossover, any of ours, smaller than that, maybe 50 listeners to 100 listeners. They'll go after them. There's no one to defend them. Nerdist had lawyers. Howard Stern, if he ever decided to go the podcast route, would have lawyers. People who can back themselves up will back themselves up. But people who have no defense, they're going to start getting these letters in the mail saying, cease and desist with your podcast. You are currently being sued under the current real owner of this technology. And that could ruin lives the same way. Do you remember when Napster was getting, there were little teenage girls in New York getting sued because Lars from Metallica didn't like the fact he downloaded their music?
Yep, I remember that, yep.
It's going to be just like that, except much more widespread, because how many podcasts are there?
Thousands, millions.
Millions, right?
Yeah.
So if it's open season on all of these people, then there's a whole new breed of ambulance chaser lawyer that has been born if this person wins this case.
Right. Now, Adam Carolla had stated in his video, he's very confident he's going to win this case because he has no idea what they have. They are so vague in what they're doing and how they're saying. He's like, I'm going to win this case, but it takes money. A large amount of money. Because
everything can get stuck in years and years of appeals and litigation, and that, again, if you're a small podcaster, you will either fold or give in to the charges, because unlike Adam Carolla, you can't afford to defend yourself for years and years and years.
And he can't even afford. He even stated that he can't afford. It was like $50,000 a week for their lawyers.
Yeah, that's insane amounts of money.
And, what is the purpose of this? So that now that if we start our podcast, we have to give out, 10%, or we have to pay a monthly fee for the use of the word podcast and the technology?
I think it's worse. That person would have rights and intellectual control of everything, of all of the podcasts. Like, they would basically be their own version of the FCC. Like, whatever they say is law.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So it's like, that's really scary to have one jerk off behind the button. You know what I mean? What are you talking about? We don't even know who this...
Yeah, we don't even know who it is. Is this Slender Man?
Yeah, right? What are they going to tell our youth to do to each other? We don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, so, this is ridiculous.
It's so ridiculous that it could actually happen. Like, it's one of the situations where, the bigger the lie, the better the chance of it actually going through.
Right. Now, I'm sure he made whoever this mystery person is, there's going to be settle out of court money.
That's what the whole idea is, right? I feel like they're like, come on, man, just give us the billion.
I don't think they want to take over every podcast in the world. They want a big chunk of money.
Yeah, they want that $1 billion.
Yeah, exactly. They'll start court and waste a lot of people's times, get everybody in an uproar, and then it may lead to the fact of, and Kevin Smith has stated this, someday there will be a internet FCC, and take advantage of it not being there now. This could start the motion. This could be like the start of Skynet taking over the world. It's the Terminators. This could start some things in motion to stop this from happening. But then to do that, you're going to have regulations. You're going to set rules. You're going to set stuff like that. Now, there's no money possibly up front for depending on what your podcast is, but there's going to be some regulations and rules. And I don't ever want to see that. I think, podcasting, we know there's no FCC. It's like, what was it? Cable access TV. There was no real regulations or rules. I like this. This is why this is better than radio as far as I'm concerned. This is why we started this, is to express how we feel and talk about what we talk about. Our fans enjoy it. Why start putting limitations on this? Why ruin a good thing? I mean, everybody can make a couple bucks. I mean, that's part of it as well. We started as a hobby, but if you can make a living doing what you enjoy and entertaining people, then what's the fucking problem? I just give them their money. I mean, I shouldn't say it like that. Just give them their money, but just shut this guy up. I mean, I know it's going to take thousands of dollars, and he's going to waste a lot of people's time. It may even take millions. But I don't know. I just feel that this is one of those stupid lawsuit things where you can sue anybody for anything kind of thing, and he just happened to jump on the bandwagon at the right particular time.
Well, it's one of these scenarios where think of it like back in the late 90s where people were just buying up all of the words in the dictionary .com.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
And it's like this with patents now, and it's not just podcasting.
No.
If we let this person win, think about what happens to advancements in medical technology, law enforcement, military technologies. All it's going to take is somebody to go, hey, I thought this up and scribbled it on a piece of paper, so I'm going to sue you for that patent,
right? For
the idea of the bullet. Do you know?
Yeah, exactly. And to give people a better understanding, this particular group has sued other companies and properties. And
right.
They're not just going after podcasts. They've gone after other things. I see this as possibly, even if they settle out of court, it's still considered a win. It could fund their next campaign to start suing somebody else.
What's gonna say they're not just gonna move on to the next thing?
They can go on to something tougher to win now at this point.
It's just as bad as the idea of net neutrality, because, like you say, somebody might get the bright idea and go, well, a way to make sure this doesn't happen again is to get a regulatory body involved to make sure that everyone's being regulated and no one gets to step. But it's for your own good. It's for your protection.
It's a police state.
But it's the same thing that could happen if net neutrality goes over, because if net neutrality actually goes away and cable companies get what they want, the FCC of the internet will be here within 2 years.
Agreed. I totally agree.
And it's going to be a nightmare, and we have to fight both of these things equally, tooth and nail. I mean, I don't know what I have, because signing a petition doesn't feel like enough. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's to be like commercials, radio ads, things like in our everyday lives to remind us, hey, this asshole's still out here trying to do this. We might want to do something about that.
Right. And I think Adam's starting that. I mean, I think they were at $43,000 at this point for their fund anything for this particular campaign, for patent trolls.
But that's like what, $1?
Nothing.
That's like less than $1 for every podcast in the world.
Yeah, something like that. And some great rewards. Go on there and check them out. We just put our on our profile page for fanboysinc.com / or facebook.com/fanboysinc. I put up their logo with fanboys across it just to show our support. Those little things kind of help. If you could just if you're a fan of this show, change your profile pic for a day or two. Share the link. At least get some knowledge out there. Share the video link from Adam Carolla. Share this podcast as we're talking. If you guys feel that we could be hit by this. Now, this could be years down the road. You know how litigation works in courts. It could be years. Somebody's gonna. It's like tap out. Somebody's gonna have to give. Somebody who has has the bigger pockets is gonna last longer. So this is what's probably gonna happen. But show some support. And maybe not even for our podcast. You want to take that logo? I'll put it up on our Facebook page that doesn't have our tag on it. And share it for your favorite podcasts. Any of the podcasts. Put it right up there. Show some support. Those little things, kind of like online petitions, but they do help. You get enough people to do that, start spreading the word. Enough people will start understanding what's going on. But I agree with you too, Sains.
Yeah.
This should be on news. This should be on an audio, maybe we'll do a commercial, and we'll be able to share this commercial through our SoundCloud account, and we'll do something in support and help them. And if you're tweeting anything, use the hashtag #TrollHunter. If you're for this, tag it. So Adam Carolla and the guy, Nerdist and the guys out there who are doing all this hard work, understand that you guys are showing support. It does help. All those little things do add up. I'm like I said, it's Fanboys Inc. approved. Hashtag #TrollHunter. This is bullshit. I mean, my life wouldn't be personally over if something happened, but I'll tell you, I'd be really upset. I mean, this is something that we've sinking our hearts and souls into for just 2 years now, and a lot of things are going on. I know fans would be upset. So, if you show your support, and if you can't, if you go to the fundanything.com/Pat and Troll, and you can't donate right now, funds are tight, share the link. That helps too. That's just as good as far as I'm concerned. Share the link, get the word out there. If you can afford a few bucks to do it, go for it. They got some great rewards out there, and like I said, we're gonna be supporting this until they take us off the air. But yeah, I just wanted to really hit on this topic because I think we're gonna hit it again. It has so many aspects, so many other things because of this we could talk about in the social economical. This is a great IC podcast, possibly a topic about this, about regulations and everything else that are going on. But to get into a little happier news, since it is a new comic book day, for a minute there, it did feel like an infinite crossover podcast right there with some serious talk. But it is new comic book day, Batman Day, and Incast, and we got some TV news, Mr. Sains. If you did you see that Hugo Strange and Harvey Dent are going to be appearing in the Gotham TV show?
No, this is breaking news to me. Who
Yes.
did have they cast them already?
Nobody is mentioned yet as the actual cast. They are just full. Wow, I can't even talk. They're chock-in this full of awesome characters.
Yeah, I have to agree. Those are some great choices if you're going to go to lay the foundation of the city of Gotham.
I'm liking the dark feel. I know some people were, and I've kind of teeter-tottered on the fact that we're going to see a young Catwoman. We're going to see, Catgirl, a young Penguin. I don't know. I'm hoping this doesn't change the mythology of Batman. I know how the big screen movies change everything from the comics, and I'm not pulling a fanboy rage here because I know that we have to, get with the times I said earlier about Archie. Kind of make it their own in a way. But Batman, for some reason, I don't know what it is, the mystique or the mystery, the darkness of it, to start changing his mythos a little bit. I don't know if I'm not 100% on par with this yet. It looks great visually. It looks dark, but getting over the fact that we have a Catgirl who was there when Bruce Wayne's parents got killed, and when they were murdered, she was there on a catwalk, looking, no pun intended. It's just weird. I don't know if I can accept that mythology until we start watching the series.
I don't know. I'm not sure I'm as much of a romantic with the canon and the way that it has to play out, because it's been tooled and retooled so many different ways, and it's sort of taking that. I think it's a year 0 or year 1. I can't remember which.
The Frank Miller.
I can't. The one most recent.
Oh, Scott Snyder's 0 year.
Yeah, I guess.
Yes,
so many
that's
of
Snyder's.
these.
That's Snyder's, and Snyder has stated that this does not touch Batman Year 1.
Okay, so either way, it is focusing more on Jim Gordon and I guess Donald Logue's character.
Correct.
So it's going to be them dealing with the bad guys of Gotham, and Bruce Wayne obviously is going to be a little boy off to the side, and it might start dealing with his training later on. But I think that it's a good idea to give the city of Gotham its own show and its own reality, because it's just another way to get people, I guess, indoctrinated into the lore and the mythos of just the idea of the DC universe, because this is basically just a way in.
Right.
And if it can be really well executed, and to have everything thrown together, like I've started watching that show Penny Dreadful on Showtime, where it's like vampires and Frankenstein and werewolves and everything all mixed together. And it's really well done, and I hope that it's Gotham is executed in the same way, where it's like we're gonna see everybody interact with each other. It's not gonna be like the movies where the bad guys probably aren't gonna intersect because it's like the Joker was out of the frame. You know, Heath Ledger passed in real life, but they could have got the Joker back and had him walking around on screen. In the Gotham, you had this long form thing where like the Penguin is going to work with Poison Ivy, is going to work with Hugo Strange, who might screw them all over later on down the line. It's going to be very much like a soap opera kind of situation.
I believe so. I mean, I see it being tweenish. Obviously, that is the market. I mean, we've seen that.
Sure.
I do feel that if they stay away, it kind of reminds me, and this just popped in my head. This is like Smallville. This is like we'll never see the cape and cowl ever. We'll never see a bat symbol. We may see some bats. We may even see the last series of the last show of this series is him falling in that well, and then and that's it, kind of thing. You know, oh my God, the bat was born. And leave it at that. You know, when Smallville was first started, the producers said you'll never see him fly. You'll never see him wear the uniform. Now they kind of skirted the fact of him flying because he jumped real far, kind of thing. But I think that's the way this is going to be. You'll never see Batman. You'll always see Bruce Wayne. But if they stay with that formula and go pre-Batman, like stay away and do some really cool background stories of how Penguin got started, and keep the Joker out of it. That is one of my biggest things right now is leave Joker alone. I don't want to see the Joker in it. I think that's going to ruin it for me.
I see him as season 2. Like, you go through season 1, and everybody kind of sorts themselves out, and then he's like the big reason to come back to the show for the next year. But you could even go, like, what was the version of the Joker where he's part of a robbery and he's wearing that giant metal red thing on his head?
The red hood.
And he falls into the vat. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, like, you can see that play out, but you never see him again or something. Or
what would be funny was if they changed him just like they did Lex in Smallville and Bruce and the Joker's regular name, you know, his alternate identity. We're best friends or something.
Sure. Why you always joking around, man? You know,
yeah. Now I might accept that, but I don't want to see the Joker. I don't want to see the face. I don't want to see him falling in a vat. There's mystery to be said with that. It's like, you know, with Wolverine's origin. When before everybody, that was the biggest history in comics for a while, or the biggest mystery was what happened to Wolverine, what's going on. So many great stories came out of that. And now it's kind of
Yeah,
okay.
It's been done so much.
I'm like, I love not knowing sometimes. The unknown makes it so much better because
that's part of the reason why it's hard for me to get into Spider-Man and all these reboots, because it's like, how many times can I see Uncle Ben get shot by this Robert guy? It's like, everybody knows that stupid story. Can I just see him in action?
Yeah, exactly. So the mystique, I think, is what sells this book. The why we started this podcast, our superior speculations. That's what great ideas and great conversations come from. And now all of a sudden, even if a great writer, let's say Grant Morrison, pulls out and gives us the whole background of everything that's going on in a particular story, it's kind of like, okay, we waited years and years and years. Be careful what you wish, because now that you got it, you're like, oh shit. You know?
So you want some speculation? This is my theory on Gotham and its long-term plan, if it were to survive, which it obviously will survive.
Well, let's not say that. When we think something survives, it's gone.
Yeah, true.
I give it 2 seasons.
Okay, so let's say it goes past that.
Okay.
Here's long term. I can't help but notice that a lot of the text and the feel of the graphics work for the show look a lot like Arkham Asylum in the video game series.
Yes. Okay. Yep.
I would not be surprised to see if the introduction, now that I know Hugo Strange is going to be part of it 100%, that Gotham eventually leads to a spin-off show called Arkham, which leads to a series called Arkham Asylum. You know, and they just do that.
Could that be overkill? Could that, necessarily be over on here all at once?
To 10 years, I could see this happening for sure.
Okay. That's interesting. I don't know if I'd like to see 2 more spin-offs, but I guess you could concentrate on the villains.
I think, as far as I can tell it will be raining comic book content for the next 20 years.
I agree.
So we just have to start like doing the mystic, like, can I predict the future bit? You know, like, what can I foresee?
Could this Batman Gotham could be the new version of NCIS? We got Gotham Miami, Gotham Las Vegas. You know what I'm saying?
You say that, but I can totally see Green Lantern City. What is it? Emerald City? Not Emerald City. What the hell am I talking about? Central City. That could totally play as a thing, like, especially if you start talking about, like, you know, none of the DC properties on TV are going to be continuous or contiguous or whatever with the film properties. So they're going to be able to play around as much as they want. Now, when
actually, Central City, I think, is the Flash. Is it Coast City? There's another one. I think it's Coast City.
It's gonna get really tricky if they go outside of Gotham, though, because I don't know that Fox has the rights to anything other than Batman and the Gotham stuff, or if it's full reign in DC. Can they go to Metropolis, or does some other network have the rights to that city? I don't know.
Well, that's the thing. Now, you bring up a good point before we get into another. You know, we know that Marvel's deals on big screen are split between Fox, Sony. Who else has the other one? No, I think it's just Fox and Sony.
Yeah,
Disney and Marvel together. But TV-wise, Marvel owns everything. So on the big screen, Disney can't touch Spider-Man. But on the small screen, they can do whatever they want with him. Same way with X-Men. Now, this deal might be the same way with DC Warner Brothers, depending on who gets what on the small screen compared to the big screen. And we've hit on this a few times on pods past, how these deals work. And now we think there might be another loop in there. It's animation. What's the deal with animation now, just being on the small screen, going back onto the big screen? We're thinking that with Big Hero 6 coming out, Disney's first attempt at animating a Marvel property, could we see Avengers with Spider-Man, with the X-Men on the big screen? Now, is animation different as far as the properties are concerned and the way the lease worked out with the characters' rights? So I think a lot of this is all a little intertwined, and expanding the universes. I mean, with DC right now, you got NBC, Fox, and the CW, and I believe AMC as well. So you got 4 networks going with 4 different universes all at once. It's going to get confusing sooner or later.
Yeah. At least for the older crowd, it seems like
the younger crowd. Whatever.
They're like, I'm drooling. Give me everything you can.
Yeah, exactly. Speaking of Marvel, these Princess Warrior, la 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 la, Xena.
Man, that sure did travel fast, didn't it? That line of logic. Whoever wrote that's like, I should have patented that joke.
Lucy Lawless comes to season 2 of S.H.I.E.L.D., Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I didn't like her, I'll be honest. I don't know. I've never been a big fan of her. I did watch it,
She's a little heavy-handed in her acting, isn't she?
Well, so is the guy who played Hercules. You remember the Xena Hercules hour that they used to play?
What was his name? Eric?
Yeah, he was in a few sci-fi movie, sci-fi channel TV series.
I feel like there's the word Lobos in his name for some reason.
I can't remember his name off the top. Yeah. I don't know. We'll see. There is no confirmation of what character she's going to play. I have a feeling she's going to be a villain.
Yeah, she has villain potential for sure. Yes. I mean, with her acting style, the way she looks, even, I mean, she could definitely pull off like a badass guardian. She could do just about anything. I mean, I could totally see her as like bad German, Hydra.
Right. I see. It's funny how she's been off the sci-fi fantasy comic book con circuit. Obviously, she's been in, she's like in limbo. Now she's back. Is she popular enough to change the course of the show and the popularity of the show?
I don't know about that, but I do think that she can do something much in the way that Bill Pullman did, where he just added this level of quality, like particularly Bill Pullman in that scene when he's flying a jet and the missiles are coming after him. Like his attitude and his swagger as an actor, as a character actor. He's not the biggest actor in the whole world, but his scenes in Aliens and True Lies are some of the funniest goddamn.
Are you talking about? Isn't it Bill Paxton?
Did I just mix up Bill Pullman and Bill Paxton?
I think it's
Did I
Bill,
do
it's
that?
Bill Paxton that you're talking about.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
I did that classic Pullman Paxton
That
confusion thing.
that Freudian slip. Yeah, no, totally
Yeah.
understandable.
One's from Independence Day, the other one's from Aliens.
Yes.
But yeah, totally awesome. You know, and I think that if played right, if she accepts that she's not the greatest actress in the world, but she can totally chew up her scenes, it could be really fun. I mean, the same way Patton Oswalt, you know, like not the greatest actor in the world, but he chewed
gets
up
laughs.
his scenes. Yeah, he gets laughs. You know what I mean? Like, he's a utility player. He knows his role.
I think. Go ahead.
You know, I think she's a good addition to an ensemble cast. Sure.
I think when we were talking about Oswald, there seemed to be more online chatter and raves that Oswald was on than Paxton. And maybe it was just me, but I felt more people were more excited to see Oswald than Paxton at this point.
There's a certain amount of nerd love, generationally speaking. You know what I mean? Yeah, Paxton to me has a special place in my heart. Game over, man! Fucking game over!
Oh my God. Popularity of S.H.I.E.L.D. obviously made it into season 2. We've talked about the ratings. We've talked about the ups and downs, the really stupid, not stupid, shitty scheduling. They're on 3 episodes, they're off for 4 weeks. 1 episode, they're off for 2 weeks. Or
Yeah, it is weird.
Hurts the popularity, obviously. Ratings are somewhat okay. I still speculate if ABC was not tied with Disney, that show would have been canceled after the first season.
100%. There's no doubt in my mind.
The other aspect is, well, their ratings are higher than Arrow, and I will give you that. But as far as me sitting on in the Suits meeting, Arrow is consistent. And as far as I'm concerned, if I wanted to advertise on the CW, I want consistent ratings with my commercials. I want consistent viewership. I don't want to go from a 1.2 to 800,000 or to a 1.8 or hey, yeah, okay, I'll go on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. because your one episode did 2.2 million viewers. That's awesome. Look at all the rest. I want something consistent. If I can stay consistent at 1 million to 1.2 every week, I'm making money that way. It's consistent, and you're not up and down and going all across the board. I still give it to Arrow. I still give Arrow the better show out of the 2 right now. I know it's like comparing pears and apples, but I like the way it's filmed. I like the dialogue. I love the overall script. I love how they're introducing characters. It's a little bit truer to some of the comic canons. I don't know. It's not, giving S.H.I.E.L.D. a try over and over. Yes, I do watch it, and I'll probably will watch season 2. But they got to do a lot to give me a thumb. I won't give it a thumbs up at all. I just can't do it. I just can't.
Yeah, they went a very safe route. They had to take in some risks because, like, personally, when I would read Marvel books when I was a kid, whenever S.H.I.E.L.D. came around, it felt really like you always felt uneasy. You didn't know if you could trust them. It felt like a little bit of a spy thriller element. Right. If they really went after that side of things on the show, it would have felt so much more interesting. But instead, what Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. feels like is a really long commercial for the idea of the Marvel Universe.
Correct.
And just a reminder that it exists until the next movie comes out. And, I mean, like, obviously, that's what it is. But if you could...
No, I totally understand that.
Give me the common courtesy of, like, helping me forget that for 60 minutes while, you know? Right. I mean, like, it's the same thing with Arrow. Like, I know Arrow is just basically like, hey, don't forget DC Comics is a thing. But it's a fun experience. And it's actually crap about the character and what they do. Like, the first time I saw Arrow kill someone, I was like, holy crap, he just killed somebody. And it's like, that actually makes a difference. And
yes,
I actually feel invested. I really hope that I can get that with the Daredevil shows that Marvel's doing.
The Daredevil Netflix. I think you will because it's on Netflix.
Risks, because, like, let's be honest, ABC is owned by Disney, and it's like that's fortunate for.
Mm-hmm.
What's unfortunate is that ABC is the most lame, milquetoast, unenjoyable we have. It is so boring. It's worse than CBS, and I can't stand CBS.
Oh my god, that's too funny.
You know, I mean, there's
I understand.
Like, it's so glossy and like safe, and we know everything's gonna work out okay. It's like if they could just take a couple risks, they would be like just a little bit more. They would be so much more interesting. And it's weird to see like a show on the CW, which is like essentially obscure television, like run laps around a show that has such a huge budget, comparatively speaking.
Yeah, with that kind of money, you would and resources, you expect a better show.
Yeah,
By
yeah,
far.
and especially when the talent you have on the comic side currently, like you have some of the best writers in the business giving you content for Marvel right now, and you mean to tell me that your shows can't be as effective? I don't believe you. You're just not. There's somebody just did a math equation at the Disney Studios, and they were like, "It's fine, just leave it as it is."
Right. We're not really too worried about TV, but we want to get in the race because DC and Warner Brothers are in. But we'll focus on movies. That seems to be the take. But on DC side, okay, yeah, we need to make a big screen, big screen movie, Batman v Superman. But you can't. Marvel, nobody can touch DC on the small screen, and I've said that since day one of this podcast, that their direct-to-DVD animated videos blow Marvel out of the water consistently. Even the last one, Justice League War, not a fan. The animation style, because it's more anime now at this point, and I'm not really into that, but it's still better than when Marvel puts theirs out when it was Avengers Confidential with the Black Widow and the Punisher. That was awful. It's just terrible. DC and Warner Brothers have the small screen down pat, and right now they have it's like Marvel on the big screen. Marvel's winning on the big screen. DC's got small screen down pat. They have the tween formula. We've seen it in Smallville. We've seen it very successful in Arrow. We're going to see it in Flash with Jeff Johns writing the pilot, if people haven't already seen it since it was leaked out a couple weeks ago. A great show. They got that formula down. My biggest problem is, why are you so good at a 37 to a 42-inch screen? You can't put it on the 15-foot screen in your movie theater. What's the goddamn difference? Why can't you give us a great 3-hour flick instead of 15 half-hour flicks? You know what I'm saying?
Know.
I don't get it. I don't get it.
And now here's a real test coming up soon, because like I feel like what everybody we've gotten so wrapped up with the idea that Ben Affleck is going to play Batman.
I think he'll be fine.
Like, okay, take that aside. The Rock has been signed on to DC superhero for quite some time. We're starting to get the idea who it's going to be now. If he is not able to deliver a awesome movie, then something is wrong. Because as far as I'm concerned, The Rock, you just insert him into your franchise, and your franchise is better. Look at Fast and the Furious. Look at G.I. Joe.
Yep.
The second he shows up, your movie gets better. G.I. Joe sucked. G.I. Joe Retaliation is totally watchable.
Right.
Because The Rock just is like, let's just kill off a major part of the cast and let me step in.
But he's not a great actor, though.
No.
He's a great personality.
An on-screen presence.
Yes, he does.
And he has, I'm not saying all his shit's great. Like, obviously, Hercules looks Hercularious.
Have you been waiting all week to use that on this pod?
But, he is a very charming man.
Yes, I agree. I agree. And that leads us into the nice segue in Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, tweeting, supposedly going to the studio, talking that he is going to be a character. Now, speculation is it's Shazam, Captain Marvel.
I'd love to see that.
I really don't. I want to see him as Black Adam. I cannot see his physical features, his face. Strikes me more of a Black Adam type than a Shazam type.
Yeah, but to be fair, Black Adam and Shazam are just like polar opposites of one another. It would look really cool, and I do think he would look better in black. And that, Shazam, to be totally frank, Shazam is much like Superman, but even worse. Shazam is like a time capsule of a bygone era.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Agreed.
Nobody even fucking says Shazam.
Yeah. That's it. Hashtag Shazam! And that's what we're going to say. Every podcast now we're going to start the Shazam will be a trending topic on Twitter.
Yeah, it feels weird to say that. That would be like my superhero name is Huzzah!
Bazinga!
Oh, that one worked, regrettably.
I can see him. Either way, I think it'd be cool. Now, who's going to play Billy? Are we going to see him transform? Are we going to see him go from...
oh, no!
Are we going to see him say Shazam and go back and forth? I mean, that integral in his character.
Right,
you know?
But it would just be so weird for it to be like that, like Lou Ferrigno-style Hulk transformation where...
I don't think Lou
Ferrigno.
I don't think Lou ever got shot with a bolt of lightning.
But it's like I really hope they don't take that approach. But also, I don't really think it would look good like if get it the other way, like what they did with Steve Rogers and Captain America, where it was Chris Evans' big giant head on that.
Yeah, right. That was funny.
That would look super weird if it was The Rock.
The Rock's head on Billy Masson's little face.
Because The Rock is this giant humongous.
I hope they have it. Obviously, it's going to be
piece of meat.
Right. I feel that it is a bygone era. His jokes are corny. We see him even in the New 52's Justice League. That it's funny because when I first started reading Shazam or Captain Marvel, when he transformed into Captain Marvel, he wasn't a little kid. He was more of an adult personality. Now he is the little kid all the time. His personality is the little kid. So it's really awkward when you're in a fight scene and we got Shazam over here getting an ice cream for 75 cents. Well, there's some serious shit going down. He's like, I love vanilla. Well, what the hell is that? See, that is hard for me to take. But maybe if you could use some of that comedic element in the movie, but be very tied in with magic, I think that would be really cool. And I think this is the good time because it makes sense. Marvel announcing Doctor Strange for Phase 3. Now we have our type of magic superhero per se for DC, not for Marvel. I'm sorry, Phase 3 for Marvel. With Shazam now in DC, make it a dark element with some of those comedic elements. Have him being that maybe he's not so childish personality, but he is a 10-year-old kid, so he's going to get distracted like, I'm going to kick your ass. Oh, my God, look at that kitty. Oh, come here, little boy. Something like that. Or I got to go save that cat from a tree, but there's a building collapsing. Get priorities straight. But I really like to see, what? I really hope he is the Black Adam because we know villain's movie. Let's be honest. Your heroes are great, but your villain, Joker... just the character of the Joker in the Batman movies. He made the movies, whether it's Jack Nicholson, Heath Ledger, they make the movie. He would be a very imposing villain.
Going back to Gotham, like we were talking about earlier, part of the reason why that show's going to work is because it centers on the bad guys. Everybody loves a good bad guy, and it's all about the bad guys. So to see The Rock step up as not only a villain, but a villain that could spread across several films, is a pretty interesting idea. Now, one thing that I'm going to throw out there, are there any other possibilities of a different character? Because is he going to, because there was a lot of talk that he could play Lobo for a while.
I could see that. Lobo, if this was a year ago before we started the podcast, it'd be, oh my God, Lobo is such an obscure character. There's no way in hell they use him. Right now, I think that's what they're going for, pulling out these obscure characters. And just, I could see it. I could see him as Lobo. Now, would he be the New 52 version or would he be the traditional version? Because the New 52 is kind of like little GQ and skinny.
Yeah, it's way too skinny. I think you would have to go with the old style, 90s with the giant chain and huge hair.
Frag.
Yep.
I could see that. I could also possibly see him as a Green Lantern. If he wasn't so bulked up, I could see him as Martian Manhunter as well. He's too bulked up for Martian Manhunter at this point, though. I mean, he's jacked. Almost.
Yeah, he's huge.
And Shazam, the way he's drawn, is really obscure now because he's just not proportionate. He's just really jacked. I mean, when you see him put him up against Superman, he's bigger than Superman.
Yeah, and that's the whole thing. He's like, he's like a direct analog to Hyperion in the Marvel universe.
Yes,
he's
exactly.
this giant massive dude that's bigger than
Yeah.
your biggest guy. So how do you deal with that? Like you have a character who's stronger than and bigger than Superman, but governed by the spirit of this child.
Right. Is he stronger though? Let's be careful what we
that
say
is
now.
that is an argument to be had.
And now I always go back to the standby. Shazam is magic. He should be able to kick the shit out of Superman.
Yeah, he should be able to pull more tricks.
Yes, exactly. And no pun intended as being in the magic part. I don't know. Black Adam is my first thought for him. I would love to see him. I think he'd make a great villain. He's great when he was in the Fast and the Furious as being that, he's the good guy, but you're not rooting for him. You're rooting for Vin Diesel. So technically, he is the bad guy. Whether you got a badge or not, we've seen that in movies too. If you got a badge doesn't mean you're a good guy. I think he's very imposing. And if his act better, not only his size, his look, but then he would really steal the show if his acting was a little bit better. He already steals the show, like you're saying. The minute he walks on the screen, you're like, ah, shit, something serious is going to happen. Somebody's getting their ass kicked, and something bad's going to happen to somebody. If he could step his acting up, he could be a major force. Not that he isn't now, but he could be, a real major force. We've also seen actors going into studios and asking for a job. Vin Diesel got that damn job with I Am Groot because he went to Marvel. Marvel didn't go to him. He went to Marvel. That's unheard of, or that we've never publicly seen a lot of, actors going in and saying, hey, I want to be in one of your movies. Hey, I want to be in one of your movies. Hey, I want to be in... Usually the studio will go after that, the agents or whatever. They make the phone calls.
Only other person I know for a fact has done that is Anthony Mackie, who went on to play Falcon.
Correct.
He, for years, harassed Marvel Studios to be in one of their films.
So that seems to be the trend. And right along with that trend is John Boyega?
Boyega, yeah.
Boyega from Star Wars Episode 7.
Yeah, right.
Now he's tweeting that he's going to Wakanda. I wonder how much a plane ticket is to Wakanda.
You know what it all reminds me of? This is a move that was started. I have to give credit where credit's due. All these actors are pulling a move that a comedian, his name is Hannibal Buress. He pulled this I think it was about a year ago. Hannibal Buress was supposed to get a show on Comedy Central. He was filming a pilot for Comedy Central, and during pilot season, much like all the other shows, he didn't know if it was going to get picked up or not. But as soon as he finished filming the show and the pilot film wrapped up, he immediately tweeted out, I would like to thank Comedy Central for picking up my pilot. And as soon as he did it, everybody was like, yeah, awesome. But it wasn't true. He was just like, I was just kind of putting out my hopes and dreams.
Did he get picked up?
I don't think so. I think
I think Vin Diesel did that too, because I believe his first oh my God, Vin Diesel was going to Marvel Studios was, hey, can I have a tour? Because I'm a comic book fan.
I remember that, yeah, and he was.
And then he started tweeting that, hey, I just talked with Marvel, and I'm going to be in a Marvel movie. You fucker, you're tweeting your hopes and dreams, and it worked.
Yeah. He started off trying to play the Vision, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, correct. Yes, that was the rumor. But John Boyega, cast in Star Wars Episode 7, tweeted this past week that he's flying to Wakanda to bring back he wants to play the Black Panther. Now that's something that's been in rumors on the edges of the internet for years now, a few years now, even before Doc Strange. Young actor. Don't know if I'd like to see it, but you know what? I'm seeing, as I was researching, taking notes for today's podcast, all the actors, I really don't want to talk about Fantastic Four because that's just a giant show.
Oh my gosh.
I'm not even going to give it time, but they are pulling the Harry Potter route. Let's get young actors. Let's get them in there. We're gonna go 5-movie deal, 6-movie deal. They'll grow into the role, which works. I understand that. At the same,
Chris Evans, I thought he was too young, and he's just about right now.
He is, but he wants out.
Right, he wants to direct movies.
He wants to direct movies, but he also stated within that same quote, if I'm gonna be in a movie, it's gonna only be Marvel movies, and that's kind of cool. And that's kind of cool. Could we see him die out? People seem to think it's Captain America's gonna go bye-bye.
I can see it.
Because the Winter Soldier, the actor who played Winter Soldier, has got a 9-movie deal, and that's kind of unheard of. So could he be picking up the mantle? Who knows? But getting back to John and the Black Panther, he seems too young. I thought that possibly, that maybe other actors that are a little bit older are literally dying. There's nobody good enough to be in that role, so we go younger. Whether or not it's a 3 or 4 movie deal for him to grow into the role, I'm wondering if that's the case as well, where we don't see a good black actor that could be that role. One comes to mind would be, and the name escapes me. You might know him, Sains. Who played Spawn?
Michael Jai White?
Yes.
Okay, so my pick for years was Idris Elba from The Wire.
Oh, yeah, okay.
He played Luther, but then you also have, I always say his name wrong, the star of 12 Years a Slave. Chiwetel Okafor, I think his name is.
Yes, I know who you're talking about, yes.
Yeah, fantastic actor. It's just that they're a little too old to play that role and I see what they're doing.
If you're going to do one movie, they're fine, but if you want a trilogy, they're too old.
Yeah, and if you want to do an expanded universe, you have to give the guy some time to, get banged around also. You have to consider, Idris Elba, while he's a fantastic actor, number one, he already plays Heimdall in the Thor series, but he's also an older gentleman. He's like 43, 45. He's a little old to be banging around on set,
Right. Well, look at Harrison Ford. He's doing another Indiana Jones.
And broke his leg because of it.
Yeah, broke his leg on the plastic Millennium Falcon. It was always even metal.
For the love of God. He's like, this will be fine. Broken leg.
And he's in Expendables. I think he's just the pilot, though. I don't know if he's going to do any action, but still. Would you be okay with John being the Black Panther? Would that be?
My argument for him as the Black Panther is the film Attack the Block.
Yes.
If you haven't seen Attack the Block, I highly recommend it. It is the movie that America, it didn't do well here. It was directed by Joe Cornish, who was working with Edgar Wright to make Ant-Man. Just to give you a little background, it didn't do well here, so America basically just ripped it off and made a movie called The Night Watch, starring Ben Stiller, Jonah Hill, and Vince Vaughn, which nobody saw.
Okay. Well, hey, Amazing Spider-Man 2 didn't do well in the States, but it knocked it internationally.
Right, but Attack the Block, that movie is freaking, and it is so good because John Boyega has such a charm and
very nice.
As this teenage hoodie, they call him hoods, and he really, he's shanking aliens with knives and stuff, and it's pretty entertaining.
Is that your pre-pick of the week? Is that going to be your pick of the week?
I have something else.
Okay,
deck,
well we're going to add that because that's going to be the first unanimous pick of the week. Mike and I are going to pick that as well as other picks. I think that's a great pick.
Cool.
I'm gonna have to watch it again. I've never watched the whole thing, but I definitely, because of this announcement, I'm gonna have to watch it again. I think younger actors, if they're good enough, can do that role. And younger actors, they're trying to get in. I think Marvel understands like DC does for the small TV, for the small screen, the tween market. Harry Potter, Twilight, what was it? Percy Jackson in the Poseidon Adventures.
Oh, sure.
So let's
get I forgot all about him.
Let's all get into that market. Let's get our Marvel characters younger. Once again, all I'm going to say, fuck Fantastic Four.
I will
it's going to be
the
triple F. Fuck Fantastic Four. That's going to be our new campaign. Hashtag fuck Fantastic Four.
I'm honestly, I'm not even a religious person, and I'm doing that condescending thing that they do. I'll pray for that film.
Yeah, I'll pray. Yeah, whatever. Oh my God, it's whatever. Fox, give it up.
Give it up, man.
It is New Comic Book Day. We're gonna do our picks and get into stuff, but with Mr. Mike Sains, as always, when he comes on, we do a little segment called the Fanboys Inc.'s Indie Corner with Mr. Sains. If, sir, you want to give us a touch of what's going on in the indie market these last few weeks?
I brought it at the beginning of the show, but the death of one Archie Andrews, it was felt all across pop culture and, pretty much all across media itself. It was on CNN. David Letterman took 5 minutes of his hour-long show to talk about how much he liked Archie growing up and what it meant to him. And I think it really is a sign that, people, whether or not they realized it, still really gave a shit about Archie. And the fact that he got killed off was kind of enough to get people to start paying attention, and I hope that it is enough to give them steam, because I'm still really excited about the announcement that Dark Circle Comics is a new division of Archie comic books. It is adult-oriented content, mature content. There's going to be some crime, magic elements. Afterlife with Archie. It's obviously going to stay in the Archie imprint, but it laid the groundwork for this kind of material. And I actually picked up Archie number 37, Life with Archie number 37 this week. It's the follow-up. Archie was killed last week while defending his friend, and number 37 is basically the eulogy to Archie Andrews. I recommend that. Also this week we have a book that is the second issue. The first issue of Superannuated Man got a 10 out of 10 on capelesscrusader.org. Dave Busing absolutely loved this book. And Ted McKeevers is a comic book creator. He does the art and the writing. Very, very interesting creator. His last project was called Miniature Jesus, and it was about a homeless man who thought he saw the Savior, the Lord Christ. And without telling you too much, it is just a very surrealistic style of art. It's printed on larger stock paper. It's thicker. He obviously pays more to have his product made stronger than just your regular flimsy, glossy paper stock like Marvel or DC is printing these days. But it's really strange. Superannuated Man is about the last human on Earth after the atmosphere of the Earth is changed. Toad-like creatures have basically become the next evolved form of life. Like, the animals are smarter than men now, and he's the last surviving human being. Without giving too much away, if you're into weird films like Terry Gilliam's Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, or very visual things, I recommend Superannuated Man. It's in black and white, but it has a very, very grimy comic strip feel to it, but also like an early 90s comic. And comic from the early 90s, really taking a lot of risks with like really graphic, gnarly looking detailed violence and animal faces that, like, I mean, it looks like more time was spent on some of the smaller panels than Flash Page. It's on Image, but this is a Shadowline production, and it feels like it could have gone to Omni Press or IDW or like a Amigo Comics even. Like, this doesn't feel like this. Very much more like a raw nerve is how I would describe the Superannuated Man. Definitely a different book. As far as everything else, Saga came out today. Everyone loves Saga. They are on the, without giving too much away with the plot, things are shifting with the pairs that we love. Marco and Alana, it's like the love story of the last 3 years in comic books, and things appear to be taking a downslide. And if you're into that story, much like a large percent of the indie comic world is, we're all waiting to see what the hell is going on in Saga. But
can I interrupt?
Sure.
Outcast number 1.
Outcast number 1 from, was that 2 weeks ago?
Yes.
I gotta say, I was impressed.
I fucking love it. That's my pick of the week.
Yeah.
I fucking love it.
I really, really liked it.
I'm not a horror fan as far as comics are concerned, or even in the movies.
Right.
But picking it up, I'm like, all right, I like The Walking Dead. Kirkman's always piqued my interest.
Sure, it's already got a TV development deal.
Of course it does. And I picked it up. I really love this concept. It's really original concept. I love it.
Sure, and it's something that you're seeing a lot of, where people are playing with tried and true concepts. Demonic possession with Outcast, mermen in the wake.
Oh, yes.
Witches coming out in August. I mean, you're seeing a lot of the old style stuff coming back to life.
Tales of the Crypt.
Exactly. It's funny you bring that up, because I have been waiting for a new version of Tales from the Crypt. Why don't we have that?
That might be in the works. Who knows?
Yeah, I would pay $10
I would definitely,
for a magazine-sized Tales from the Crypt.
I definitely would get into that.
In a heartbeat.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But
Outcast. I'm loving Outcast. I think, like I said, I think it's going to be my pick of the week. I didn't get to read it last week or 2 weeks when it came out. But that's my indie pick for this week. I mean, and thanks to Mr. Sains here. I mean, I got into Black Science because of him. The Wake I got because of Snyder, but I also knew the origins a little bit of that storyline, and I consider the Vertigo line kind of independent. And now Outcast, it's great. And I say, love these a little bit more. I do like my traditional heroes, but I'm really starting to dig some of these Keeping Cowl books. And maybe back in the day it wasn't, the writing wasn't as good, or because I was younger, I just wanted to see, my superheroes. Now, I think with the offering we get, especially through Image or IDW, any of the independents, it reaches a different level and reaches a different market, and the level of writing and the artwork styles has been elevated in the last 10 years. That there's something out there for everyone, and I gotta say, that's my pick. If you haven't yet, they are out this week. Number one as a reprint, second reprint already, obviously. So check that out, as well as Cowl.
Yeah, it has a variant this week.
The other one too that
I think the second printing, that book is selling fast.
The other one also out this week that you got me on was Cowl, number one. The second printing is out for that as well. Number two has already been out, but they're reissuing out the second printing of issue 1, and check that out as well. I think, and that probably has got a movie deal too. I mean, these indie comics are putting out some serious stuff. What Outcast remind me of that I just got on board with, I believe it's on episode 4 or 5 this week, is HBO's The Leftovers.
Sure.
Oh my God. I mean, we don't talk much about the movie, the pop culture and non-superhero type movies, but this series, The Leftovers, I don't know if you're watching it, Sains, I'm digging the shit out of this.
I'm watching that show, and I got to tell you, I wasn't sure where I was with the series after the first episode. The second episode it really got me, but the Christopher Eccleston episode,
that was amazing.
So good.
Oh my God, it was so awesome.
His performance in that hour of television, he better get a nomination for.
I was so impressed with that show.
What? People need to acknowledge how fucking good Christopher Eccleston was in that episode.
Oh my God, amazing! And I think it's the same thing for me. When I was still teeter-tottering. There was a cool sense of mystery. I'm thinking, I loved It, Stephen King's It, until the ending when it was a giant cheesy alien. I wanted more of the mystical mystery instead of this alien. If they pull this shit on, because they sucked me in. If they're going to suck me in for a season and then we find out it's a bunch of aliens taking these people away, I'm going to be pissed. But yes, Eccleston's performance was amazing. I think that's what sold me. I mean, I was still into it, but that just seeing the priest going for everything he needs and then beating that guy's head for stealing his money, it shows the level what one person goes to, what he believes in to get what he wants. And it was, he was true. I mean, I think there's a little bit of guilt when he did that to that guy, but the guy was a dirtbag. But it just showed just the level of acting and the level of what people are willing to have to go through for something that they believe in.
Yeah. Do you know, it's weird, I might actually be pissing off some of my writer friends, but I don't know how you feel about Damon Lindelof, but this premise feels a lot like a Rod Serling Twilight Zone, like one of those classic premises.
Okay, I never thought about that, but yeah, I agree with that.
What if you woke up and 2% of the population was gone? How the hell is the rest of society going to deal with that? That was so perfectly the Twilight Zone.
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
As soon as I heard that premise, and the way that it's executed, I mean, from what I understand, Nick Perotta's original book is a little bit more funny. It has like a dark humor to it, but I don't mind that they've removed the humor.
Do you think they're going to
the
ease it in?
series.
Do you think they're going to ease it in, though, into, like,
I
second season?
don't know. I don't think so. This show is very nihilistic. It is very bleak. You know, I'm a fan of that kind of stuff. I like Mad Men. You know, the show Mad Men. The show is nothing but a huge bummer. It's so sad.
Oh, my God. Every episode, there's no happy ending.
Nothing ever works out. Nothing ever works out.
Without spoiling stuff, whatever. Speculations on the show. Now, I'm thinking, I can't remember the cop's name, the lead.
Justin Theroux.
Yes. Sees bald man shooting the dogs.
Mm-hmm.
All in his head. We see the car. Now, did he drive the car? I mean, we saw the Blazer. Did he drive the Blazer? That's one question. The other one, who are these people in the white, and why is every one of them smoking? It's like Cancer Man on the X-Files.
Okay, so I have a couple ideas.
Yeah, give me some. I have nobody to talk to, so I'm like, all right, Sains has got to watch it.
The Guilty Remnant is obviously a cult. It's all their stuff is pretty much explained in the first episode.
Mm-hmm.
Like, none of this has been told, but from what I have gathered, they are people who have given up their former lives, who do not speak because they acknowledge that their breath is not worth anything.
Okay.
They believe that human beings we're just nothing. We are valueless. Okay. They smoke as a sign of their faith, and everyone knows smoking makes you sick, and it can kill you. So they smoke as a sign of their faith. That says to me they smoke to help further and quicken their deaths because their lives mean nothing.
But if their lives mean nothing, and now Mary is the leader here,
right?
They buy the priest church, that bitch. What is the purpose, and why are they focusing on Liz Tyler? Why are they grabbing her? Why are they going and reseeking these people if there's no? That's the weirdest thing.
It's all very allegorical.
Yeah.
It's like how can I put this? They're like the most cynical version of a Buddhist monk I've ever seen.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
They don't. It's like a monastery where the monks don't speak to each other. You know, but instead of transcribing the word of the Lord to a newer version, they just sit around smoking cigarettes
and
all
staring
day.
at random people.
Yeah. Well, I don't think it's.
I don't think they're random. No, I know.
They're targeted.
They're targeted. But for what reason? To shut them up?
I think they're going after the strongest-willed people in the town to try and break them. It's that cynical.
So if they join, the others will follow.
Right. If you go after the leaders, the rest are just going to follow suit.
Now,
but I don't know to what end.
Now,
you know, it's like this guy Wayne. What the fuck's up with him?
Yeah, I have no idea. It's just there's always I like the show because you think you're going to get an answer next episode, but you're also going to end up writing down 15 more fucking questions because you're it's like shit. Now, getting back to the bald man with the dogs, do you think he's real?
No, I don't. I think there absolutely is a storyline where Justin Theroux and his father, I think played by Sam, what's his name? Sam Neill?
Yes.
They're both batshit crazy.
Yeah,
but, however, I don't think that those things aren't there. That's the craziest part. We might actually be dealing with, like, some kind of interdimensional beings kind of situation.
But why shoot all the dogs as well? Did they see something? Now, that's why I'm thinking it's more of interdimensional and possibly spirits, because it's been known dogs and cats can see things that humans can't for years.
Yeah, now I agree with you, but also shooting those dogs, it served a purpose. Like, those are wild, ravenous dogs that could eventually possibly hurt somebody. So it just served a straight-up purpose. We need to kill these things.
Right.
But the way that the show delivers that message, you don't really know what the hell's going on. But I think that character, the bald man, his performance by far is the most interesting so far.
I agree.
Like, the fact that he wasn't in that episode last week, you're like, where the hell was he?
Yeah, I know. I wanted him in there. I'm like,
whole time.
I was like, is he going to appear to the priest? Then I'll know if he's real. But then you don't.
His truck is a reminder that, you know, craziness is all around the whole time.
Now, the daughter, I think, is the most integral part. Something's going on with her that I think she knows what's going on. I think she's the key to the whole episode, or to the whole series, I think.
Really? Because that's very interesting. Because I always think that it's kids, but for me, my
she is
instinct
a
is thinking,
kid, not the
right,
young kids.
right. The son, I thought had something to do with it, but then I find out Tommy isn't even related to the cop.
Right, right.
You know, it's, well, now what's going on?
I have one other friend that I talk to about this with, and she watches it every Sunday night. And I'm like, the son, or the supposed son, is to lead you off the trail storyline. Yeah, you may think because he's with the Messiah, the black man, and he may be the key. He's that secondary story that's throwing you off, making you think otherwise. I feel the young girl who's the rebel and who's doing things and standing up on her own is going to be the key. That's why I think that's when I know there's good writing. There's like 4 little subplots going there, and you think, oh, it's the cop's son who's with the Messiah, and he's running now with the Asian woman, and he's the key because something's going on. He don't know shit. He's just a follower. He didn't know what was going on, so he's not a leader. He's going to go with a group where he feels safe, and that's what he is. I don't see him as a huge person making decisions. The daughter, on the other hand, she's making some decisions, and she's rational about certain things, or she's logical. She thinks certain things out, or she goes through them, and certain things don't bother her. I have a feeling she's going to be like the key, or she's going to find out really what happened first.
Now, while I might agree with that, I have the most issues with the way that her set of friends and characters are being written. There's a kind of detachment when an older person writes younger people. I just don't feel like...
I think it's too stereotypical.
It's not just stereotypical. It's downright nihilistic, where like they don't think anything matters anymore.
Right, they're just partying, playing, spin the bottle. Hey, we're gonna go have sex. We're gonna go drink. We're gonna go smoke. That's all. Well, whatever.
I mean, like, yeah, kids do act like that. I'm not saying kids don't do those kinds of things, but I certainly didn't choke anybody while you know what I mean, like during spin the bottle.
Yeah, right.
I didn't.
Well, it's a new age, man. Maybe the kids do that nowadays.
I don't know.
Tweet us. Have you ever choked yourself while masturbating?
Have you ever hit someone in the head with a rock?
Yeah.
While you were driving?
Well, I'm sure that has happened.
I mean, gosh, it is so crazy. It's like when society. It's one of those. Again, that's why I think it's like the Twilight Zone. When society pretty much unravels, when you're like right on that line of unraveling, how are you gonna act?
I don't think the driving by hitting with a rock is a norm, man. I mean, we've seen that through the 60s, 70s, the 80s for any ride.
Yeah, that's very true. That's very true.
But for her, the kids, you make a point. I'm kind of out of touch as well. I mean, but I don't see it too out of the norm that possibly kids are different nowadays. They see different things, and they're going to grow up differently. It is a little odd. Maybe it was from personal experience. I don't know.
I hope not.
Yeah, right. But her take on the whole thing, you think somebody at that age would be freaked out, and it's
You'd
almost
think everyone would be freaked out.
But she's either in denial, or she's like, whatever. It doesn't bother me. See, that's what gets me about her character. She could either be in denial and just going along and be like, all right, none of this ever happened, or she's like, you can do your own thing. I'm just over here, whatever. I think she's more complicated than we're led to believe. As far as face value is concerned.
Oh, I think that this is all way more complicated.
If it turns out aliens, I'm gonna be pissed. If it's some cheesy bullshit alien bullshit, we're gonna see a bunch of grays walking around. I'm gonna be pissed. I want some mystic shit. I'm dead serious. I want to see some serious. None of this fucking bullshit crap. Tim Curry's gonna come walking out or some shit at the end. But guys, check that out. It's out every Sunday after Game of Thrones, actually, I believe. So check that out every Sunday on HBO. Tell us what.
Actually, it's after True Blood.
Oh, True Blood. Yes, I'm sorry. Yes, True Blood. Which is an awful show.
It's so bad.
I apologize not to discredit Game of Thrones for being out on Sunday. But yes, it's after True Blood. I can't stand that show. I've watched 3 episodes. I thought I was going to puke.
Completely mindless.
After I watched that show, I thought Twilight was one of the best vampire movies I've ever seen.
You're like, where is Brian De Palma's Dracula from 1992?
Oh my God, shit. All right. This week in comics, we talked a little about it in the Indie Corner here with Mr. Sains. Did you have any more since I took off that spin from Outcast to Leftovers? Kind of still indie. It is a little series, it's a little independent series on HBO.
Well, One last recommendation I have. I can't really say the properties themselves are independent, but the publisher is IDW, so I'm fine with it.
It's a licensing product.
Transformers versus G.I. Joe is the crossover event of the summer, you guys.
What?
Transformers versus G.I. Joe #1.
Where's Joe Nub when we need him? Really?
Dude, Dave gave the review. He loved it. I read it. It is so freaking fun, and I think it's actually written by the original writers. There's whoever, I gotta get the credits correct, but whoever wrote this book is a very talented individual because it is straight up fun as shit.
No kidding.
Yeah, it's the G.I. Joes fighting the Transformers. I'm not gonna say anything else. It's just so awesome, and it looks like the old cartoon.
Didn't we have this before? Hasn't this come out before? Now, Joe Nub would know this because I'm not a big Transformers fan, but I believe there was a team up before.
I don't know if it's a team up as much as it is a straight up.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like a fight, and it's one of those like there's this giant misunderstanding kind of situation, and they're going head to head, and obviously things will get cleared up. There's going to be a common enemy.
What do you mean a misunderstanding? What is there to not misunderstand when you have like 10 foot or 20 foot tall robots walking on your planet? Think of when Thor and Iron Man fought in the Avengers movie. Okay.
It's like there's a common enemy, but there's also motivation to throw down.
Gotcha.
And it's fun. I mean, awesome. Like, you want to get a kid comics and reading are cool, hand him Transformers versus G.I. Joe for this.
Now, it's a good kid comic. It's not mature in any serious. Are there any serious undertones in this at all, or is
it's like there's. It's much like G.I. Joe or the Transformers cartoon. Yes, things blow up, but nobody dies. You know what I mean?
Right. Okay.
So,
awesome.
Yeah.
All right.
Highly recommended, and it's just fun.
Very cool. Very cool. I'm gonna pull this week, obviously. Batman number 33.
Everybody like have fun.
What's that? Would you say? I didn't hear you.
I got to think. I think there was a little static on my end.
Yeah. No, I was just saying. Comics. My pull list this week is short. At Batman 33. Obviously, it's Batman Day. Amazing Spider-Man number 4. If you guys are reading this, I'd love to hear what your thoughts are. I haven't really heard any comments online of if they're liking this series now that Peter Parker's back. We do know that Miguel O'Hara has got his own series, 2099, which came out a week ago. Yes, a week ago.
And Spidey Doc Ock is making an appearance again during the Spider-Verse series.
Yes, he is. And we know where he was. He was in 2099's reality, or the future, when he made that jump. I forgot what issue of Superior it was. And we'll get to see what's going on with him and then what happened with that mind swap. Will we see Doc Ock back, or he was one of the classics? Comics, nobody ever stays dead. I want somebody to really stay dead. I really want somebody to stay dead. And
so far,
who stayed dead?
Charles Xavier's been dead for 2.5 years.
But that don't mean shit. That don't mean shit. He's coming. Damn well he's coming back.
Yeah, Professor X will come back.
I think it's going to be the race. It's going to be the mind race. Is Jean Grey going to come back? Not the young Jean Grey, but the regular universe Jean Grey.
Here's what
Professor X is going to come back first. It's going to be the mind race.
If Life with Archie stops at issue number 40 and Archie stays dead, it will be one of my favorite comic books of all time. Because it had the balls to keep him dead.
You know damn well that's not going to happen. There's no money to be made on a dead character.
Well, you have the Archie, the regular
son of Archie.
You just hit something that could totally work.
The son of Archie.
But Life with Archie is just the adult version. So if Life with Archie ends at 40 and keeps Archie dead in that series, typically a character still dies. But in Marvel Universe, I don't think anybody is dead forever.
No.
I mean, Nightcrawler's back.
Yep.
Jean Grey's back for whatever reason. Kind of.
Her past self is back, and her future
self is back.
Right. So, and Professor
Marvel.
X, I think, is somewhere. Obviously, that's another confusing issue because the Red Skull took his brain, so that's why he has the Onslaught armor, or helping him with Onslaught armor when we go into their Villains Month type of storyline through the Marvel Universe. Speaking of Original Sin number 5.2, loving this event. Talked about it last week. Probably one of the best Marvel events I've read in a very long time. Good writing. keep you on your toes. You don't know what's going on, and I will say this one more time: you do not need to get original Sins tie-ins. They do help. They're fun, but they're not integral to the story. It's more like when Avengers vs. X-Men came out, and you had all these side stories going on, and all I saw was more of a glorified fight with the Juggernaut and Colossus, or not Colossus, the Hulk and the Red Hulk and Colossus, who was the Juggernaut at the time. Not integral. I'm not picking up any of the other original Sins tie-ins as well, except for the ones that I'm reading. Avengers, World New Avengers. Not integral. I'm still carrying on with the story of the original Sin. You don't have to worry about getting all the tie-ins and the sub stories. But once again, I cannot praise this event as an event. It's one of the Marvel's best I've read in years. So check that out. 5.2. That's it for my list. Surprisingly, 3 books means there's more toys to be had. I have to increase my collection.
Oh my gosh! You just hit it ahead, man. I forgot to bring it up earlier.
Go for it.
This is my pick of the week. I was gonna do a comic book,
we got so many damn picks of the week. You guys better start taking notes.
Okay, Funko Pop is one division of the Funko.
Yep.
For the grown person, if you're not into the bobblehead thing, get into the Funko Reaction line, my friends. They are releasing this month. It was supposed to be 2 weeks ago. I got my pre-order in, but they've delayed it a couple weeks. Funko is doing a Reaction series. Reaction is their brand that looks exactly like the old Kenner retro vintage action figures.
Oh, very cool.
Like the fights of articulation. They're doing Pulp Fiction.
Ooh.
They're doing Alien, Predator, Terminator, Escape from New York, all the good stuff.
Snake
Plissken's kind of like, but most importantly, the most impressive one I have seen from the Pulp Fiction series, Bloody Bruce Willis with the sword, the Gimp, and Marcellus Wallace. I mean, like the wolf, Jimmy with his cup of coffee in his hand.
Nice.
Everybody from the movie that you want as a figure is coming out as a figure. And Funko is knocking this shit out of the park.
Price point?
$5.99, $6.99.
Nice.
Yeah. For a comic book store, they'll probably charge $10.99, you know, just because they got to make some money.
Right.
Direct market sales. But yeah, I am really looking to them. The Terminator Endo and Exoskeletons, which are separate models, look freaking fantastic. I think it has a metallic finish, like with a shine to it and everything.
Very cool.
There's Masked Predator, Unmasked Predator, Open Mouth Predator, and Clear Predator. They're not screwing around.
Wow, damn.
And so, yeah, I am super looking forward to these toys. And the first line, which is Pulp Fiction, is supposed to drop by the end of this month.
Oh, very cool.
Super excited.
And we'll have those links as they go. I'm sure Joe Nubb will be on top of that stuff as well with his toy news. Speaking of news, go over to fanboysinc.com. Our guys are pulling out some serious stuff over there. Great articles, reviews. Mucka is on fire again this week with some great Mucka has broken news before the big boys in the last 2 weeks. So I got, thumbs up to Mucka. If you're listening, man, thank you again. He's our movie guy. Check out some of the stuff. Joshua Lazarus, Cody Mund, obviously Mr. Mike Sains. Josh Epstein wrote a few articles. I was just saying something on last week's Infinite Crossover. I kind of got a chubby when I found out Josh Epstein wrote 2 articles for Boys Inc. I was like, oh my god, really? This is awesome. Not that Josh would probably be happy that I got a chubby, but some people are. But anyway, go over and check it out over fanboysinc.com. We got videos. We got great articles over there. We're breaking the news before the big boys, so check that out. Also check us out at facebook.com/fanboysinc. Tweet us at Fanboys Inc. Like I said, I want to know what you guys think of Amazing Spider-Man #4 or even the series itself, since it's 1 through 4 so far. Tell me what you guys think. Is Peter kind of like Peterless in a way? He seems kind of right now. I'm enjoying it, but something's wrong still with Peter. And we got the Spider-Verse coming up with every Spider-Man ever and a few more. So that'll be interesting to see. And, of course, my favorite's back, Spider-Man, Miguel O'Hara, $20.99. We might see a few more $20.99 characters. I believe it's Doctor Doom has already made an appearance in Avengers. So we'll see what's going on with that. next week we will be here next Wednesday again. Look for some new stuff coming up. We got some stuff going on for Kirby Day in August. Also, Comic Book Depot Day, which is the Comic Depot just inside Saratoga Springs at 514 Broadway. To meet all your fanboy needs, we'll be doing there. Live podcast in August. Also, con events. I will be in Baltimore, Rhode Island, Granite State, and New York City Comic Con. So there will be the Fanboy Inc.'s con dates. We'll be with Unit 5 with those, so check our booths out. You might also see some other staff members from Fanboys Inc. joining me as well on those con dates. Other than that, I think we are good. Mr. Sains, where can they reach you? Now, I know people are so busy tweeting hate mail to Josh, they don't have time to give you hate mail. Where can they send you their love letters?
If you want to get in touch with me, there are a couple different ways these days. If you want to send something, if you are a comic book creator and you are looking to get your stuff fitted, or you would like to talk to someone to promote your new book, you can email me at themikesains@gmail.com. That is the Mike Sains, like the way the football players in college introduce their college, the Ohio State. I'm also on Twitter at Mike Sains. That's SAINS. And right now, I would ask if you are a fan of classic rock, action figures, or if you just want to help a guy out financially who can't work right now for reasons out of my own control, check out my eBay store. My eBay store, my seller name is msains21. I have so much stuff. I'm going to put links online on my Twitter over the next couple days. But I have
Jimi Hendrix. Good stuff. You got some really cool stuff.
Black Sabbath, Pink Floyd, Jimi Hendrix, AC/DC, Leonard Skinner, The Doors, you name it, I got it, and it's in mint condition. I also have action figures like the Mezco 2005 series Lobster Johnson from the BPRD and Hellboy universe, the Ghost of Lobster Johnson translucent blue variant Comic Con exclusive figure, really pretty, Archangel, Deadpool, all kinds of stuff for your nerdy needs. I got it on sale, you guys, and it all goes to support a dude who can't work a moment. And I would really appreciate that.
Dude, if you can't work, man, go on a Kickstarter and do that pasta salad. That got $43. No,
holy shit! Potato salad worth $45,000.
Yeah, can you believe? I did some more reading on that gentleman, and we talked about that last week. That we were joking that we were going to do pasta salad for $5. Heroic pasta salad. He actually did obviously he's done a lot of reviews or interviews. He's been on TV, and it started out as a joke. He made people laugh, and that's how he won. He's like, I have a great product, and I made people laugh. I thought it was a joke, and people really felt strongly about that, connected with the product. So, not necessarily was it the potato salad. It was his approach. It's not the way he tossed it. It's what he put in his rewards in his videos from what we were reading. You know what? As much as we joked about the guy, and I can't believe it, something so idiotic, got $43,000. Still, he put on a very successful campaign that others should follow. What are you so laughing about over there?
I just think it is so freaking funny that somebody could take something so benign and with the help of Reddit launch it to such status.
Yeah.
I love the internet, you guys.
Oh, it's awesome.
I just, I couldn't ask for more.
And before we go, as stated last week, you guys got a Kickstarter campaign? You doing a book, a service? Are you doing macaroni salad? Whatever you want. Shoot us over at fanboys, Facebook.com/fanboys Inc. DM me. Tell me your product, service. If it's comic book related, obviously in the pop culture market, you're doing a movie, you're doing a comic, send it to us, and if we like it, it meets your requirements, we'll shout it out on our podcast. And I got one this week. Our friend Will Robson. He's been on a podcast before. Him and Alex has been on the podcast before. He's an artist. He's got a new Kickstarter out to kickstarter.com/Meta Rising. One of his comics, issue number 1 in his Kickstarter. A few days left into that campaign. We'll have him on soon. I haven't talked to him since he's been back in London. I haven't talked to him really since we saw each other last year at New York City Comic Con. But go check that out. His art has definitely gotten a lot better. drawing every day. Follow him on Facebook at facebook.com/Will Robson. Check out our campaign. Some awesome rewards going on over there. Meta Rising #1. Check that out. Also, I'm going to tease it out. Look for him on a Savage Dragon book. Yes.
Oh,
Yes, yeah. Oh, yeah. So you'll see some of his artwork on Savage Dragon. So check that out. I can't say much more when or where. Well, we know where Savage Dragon, but when. Hopefully we'll have Will on to talk a little bit more about that. But yeah, go over to kickstarter.com/Meta Rising and check him out. Like I said, guys, you got a Kickstarter campaign. I'll push pasta salad, man. I'll do macaroni. You gonna make cannolis? As long as there's, if it's a heroic-looking cannoli, we'll support it. But go over in facebook.com/Fanboys Inc. and DM me, and we'll see if we can help support your Kickstarter campaign. So, Mr. Sains, I guess that's it for today. Thank you so much for joining us, and thank you for Indie Corner, and we'll try to do this again once a month, guys. Do you have anything lastly to say before we sign off?
Last thing I want to say is a quick plug for an artist friend. Her name is Afua Richardson. She is a comic book artist who will be working on a book for Top Cow called Genius in August.
Oh, nice.
She made a print basically only for me because I told her it was so awesome from her new book called Genius, and I recommend. There's only 9 of them left, and they're only $25. 11 by 17 glossy print. Right at her website. Buy some of her stuff. She made it for me, and I'm pretty sure she'll be taking a financial loss if the rest of them don't sell.
Right.
Please
website?
Go to her site. afuaricardson.net or .com. I can't remember which one.
Okay, awesome.
But she has an online store, and she's in a band. You can buy her CDs, buy her prints. She hooked me up just because I asked, and I got to return the favor.
Very nice, sir. All right, everybody. Go out to Batman Day. Go to your local retail, local comic book shop, and go buy a Bat book. Have some fun. Also, last thing, locally, Crandall Library in the Glens Falls, New York area is doing Batman Day right now in the library, showing 5 Batman films. One is being Dark Knight Rises, Son of Batman animated feature, a couple of the animated series episodes, and a few more. There's guests in the original artwork. So go check that out, the Crandall Library in Glens Falls, New York. All right, Mr. Sains, I am going to my local comic book shop now to go get some of my Bat masks. So I guess we're out of here, man.
Awesome. Thanks for having me back.
All right, everybody. Peace.
Peace.